Little spinny circle in the red light. That means we are live back with another Money Moves. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, Wendy Lee. I am fired up about today, and I hope you are too.
I'm ready to go.
I know. I love it, man. Did you have a good weekend?
I did. It was chill with family and football.
Nice.
And the Phillies.
Yeah. And the Phillies. Let's not forget the Phillies. My White Sox are no more, so it is what it is. But next year. But yeah, I'm fired up too. Had a great weekend. Got to go see one of my favorite bands back last week with a good friend of mine, a few good friends actually. And then I've got the Kiss concert I went to last night. I mean, let's be honest, who doesn't love Kiss? That's a seventh grade flashback right there. So all good stuff. But today we're here to talk about some exciting stuff. Being at your low point financially. So I know it's I know, right? It's kind of like it's kind of weird, but so we're going to be talking about low points. We're going to share some stuff that I've gone through, and I know Wendy, she's going to share as well. And I'm sure some of you viewers out there, maybe you're in your low point right now, or you have been, but we're going to talk about not the low point. We're not going to dwell on the negative. What we're going to talk about is how to fight your way forward. Yeah. And what to do and, draw that line in the sand and how to claim your future and be blessed like you were meant to be blessed. So we're going to get started on that in just a few minutes. Do us a favor, give us a thumbs up, share that little like button and share, reach out to somebody and say, hey, you need to catch this right now. And we're going to get started here in just a few seconds. All right, we are back talking about the exciting low points in financial history, right? In the personal financial history. So we'll go ahead and I'm going to let ladies go first, right? No, if you want to share, I'll share. You can share. We can share. Yeah. But I want everybody to know out there that you're not alone, right? We all go through stuff. I mean, think about it when you're at work, you may be having a bad day and your boss walks by or a coworker walks by and say, hey, how you doing today? Oh, I'm doing great. How about yourself? And inside you're dying, right? Mm-hmm. It's reality. And that's what we try to do on this show is kind of keep it real as we can for you. And so I thought, hey, I share some of my personal stuff and, I've been at an extremely low point financially. It hasn't all been sunshine, lollipops and rainbows, right? Right. And Wendy, I know we've had some personal conversations. I mean, I don't know. Have you ever felt just down about your finances?
Yes, many times. but I think there's, the times that you're stressed about it. And then there's the times that you hit that point where you're ready to make a change. And
I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and let's take action. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about on how to fight your way forward. So ladies first, feel free.
Right. Yeah. I always say to people, like, we are not developed. We do not grow in easy times. We grow in the hard stuff.
Yep.
And bottom line is it catches our attention. Right. And so I know for me, I don't know that I've ever shared this publicly ever. But the low point for me with money, the crazy thing is I was actually making good money at my low point. And when I was making less money, I was a lot better at handling it. And the more money I made, the more I lost track of what was going on. And so for me, my low point was all of a sudden IRS seizing bank accounts and emptying them out. And so that was, several years ago. And that was definitely a turning point for me because I was like, I have to get this under control. I have to figure out what I'm doing. And it's ridiculous that I make money and I just don't know what to do with it and how to manage it and how to save the right way for taxes and how to protect myself from that. And I was overpaying before in taxes. So that tax bind I got into was years prior that I just got behind, right? Got stuck, felt like there was no way out.
Yeah, it was nothing illegal you were doing or anything that. No. Okay. I just want to make sure everybody out there knows that.
Yeah. No, I was just, and I see this happen a lot with entrepreneurs, especially like realtors. I have a lot of realtors way back on that on the tax bills. And so, and I just had 2 years that I was behind, and I was, caught up from that point forward, but hadn't made a plan. Anyway, it was an eye-opening moment. And I met you not long after that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe I was actually going through with the IRS attorney and dealing with all that when I met you.
Yep.
And so then learning what you did, and it was like this light bulb moment for me. I remember this clearly because you said something right after my IRS attorney said something to me that was a real shift in my mindset, because I was down. Like I felt hopeless. Like I was down. And my IRS attorney said to me, as we were going through all my stuff, she's like, Wendy, here's the deal. She's like, I'm good at what I do, and you're good at what you do. What you do is you know how to make money. She's like, I'm sitting here looking at what you bring in and how you do it, and I'm blown away. I could never do what you do. Let me do what I'm good at. And then not long after that, it was probably a couple of weeks, I sat down with you and got my financial plan. And you were like, hey, you might not know this stuff. Let me help you with this stuff. And that was all of those things kind of collided at one time and made me go, you know what? Not enough people are talking about what to do with the money that you make as an entrepreneur. And that shifted my entire life, because while I had no clue back then, now I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm able to teach other people what I've learned and through my mess and through my mistake. And, that was a moment that I was like, I will never be there again. I will never.
And that's exactly, I mean, you learn through failure. That's how you learn. You don't learn by winning. I mean, okay, you win, that's great. But the true learning takes place when you learn through failure and you fail forward. That's the key. You don't lay there, you brush yourself up, get up and start walking forward again. And I'm going to do it better this time. And that's, you look at that, and so many people out there, a lot of us are in that same situation. We're middle class, especially, and I consider myself middle class, as far as income bracket and things like that. I came from lower class, and I went to public schools. I'm a product of public schools. I'm a product of a state university. I didn't go to some fancy schmancy school. Nothing against that, but I just didn't have that opportunity. But we're taught to go out and hustle. You always hear people talk about the hustle, getting the, you see people, on Instagram and social media and things like that, showing all the stuff that they're doing. But we're never really taught, as a middle class, a person, you're not really taught about what to do with your money. Even those people that are selling the courses and stuff, again, they're out there making that money, right? But how do I get my money to grow for me? How do I get my money to work for me so I don't have to for the rest of my life? And that's really where, I had a similar situation, a couple of times. I was doing the corporate game, because that's what you're taught, right? Go out, get a good job, work hard, and you'll get the promotion and stuff like that. And you're all fighting. And one day the president of the company will die, and maybe you'll be the one they say, it's I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit, but, banking, I was in finance, and that's a very volatile career, right? And you go out, and the first time I got laid off, I remember my wife was pregnant with we just bought our first house. And I'm like, you know what? I know I can make money, because I used to wait tables back in the day. I'm like, worst case, I can go out and wait tables. But I started my own company, and it went well. But, that was by a lot of trial and error. I went the traditional route, with a solopreneur, hired employees. And I'm like, okay. And it went well, sold it, in 2007 to go back into corporate. I got lured back in there, right? It's 2006, excuse me. And I thought, man, and that was my first 6-figure gig back then, that corporate job. Had a nice base pay, bonuses and stuff like that. And then moved my family, because that's what you got to do if you want to play the corporate game. You want the promotion, you got to go and move to the next location, whatever. And then 2008 hit. I just bought a house. The market dropped through the floor, so I paid a down payment on the house, and I had to pay to get out of the house. Kind of settling with the bank. They said, well, we'll take it, but we're only going to be able to sell it for this, and you've got to come up with a difference. And it wiped me out financially. I mean, it was a financially devastating time. And but I played the game. I networked well, and I got another corporate job, moved down to Tennessee, which is I love this place. This is home. Tennessee is home to me, and I'm never leaving, and I didn't try to sway everybody the way I thought. I was kind of thinking like everybody down here anyway at the time, but I adapted and, assimilated, but, things were going well, but I was living that corporate mindset. There's always going to be another paycheck, right?
Mhm.
There's always going to be, I'm going to get paid another paycheck in 2 weeks, and next thing I know, I got an opportunity to go to another company. And that whole thing was really looking at, okay, great. You can stay in Tennessee, but you're going to be working remote. And hey, you do what you got to do for the family. A year and a half later, new management came in, said, we want everybody here in Charlotte. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I left my job because you told me. Well,
Yeah.
we're doing away with all remote positions. If you don't move, bye-bye. And I'm like, okay, I drew my line in the sand. But at that point, that was my lowest point in my career because we had, a bunch of debt, things like that. And I had just gotten laid off. And I mean, I had some money set back, but I didn't really have all the things that we talk about now. I didn't have that stuff into place, right?
Mhm.
And so that was a situation where it was like, wow, what am I going to do? And that's really what my low point. I mean, literally, I don't like to share this. I'm a little embarrassed by this, but I mean, I had a lot of debt and, we were covering the bills, but I literally got down to the last $1,000 in the bank. And, I started having a conversation with my wife and I said, hey, we got to have a conversation on whose parents we're going to talk about if we need to move in with somebody. And at that point, I mean, I was crushed, as a provider, as a father. I had 3 young children at the time. And, I'm like, this is not a good place to be in. And I swear to God, I got down on my knees. You're a little choked up thinking about it. I mean, I got down on my knees and said, God, get me out of this. I will never let this happen again to my family and, or myself. And I, at that point, I'm like, I need to go back and be an entrepreneur again and be a soul, but I didn't know what to do. And so I started looking at a bunch of different things and I'd done some volunteer work for Crown Financial Ministries. And, I'm like, you know what? I'm getting out of debt. I'm figuring this thing out, and I found some guys that had a planning agency, financial planning agency. They did insurances and advising and stuff like that, and they allowed me to come in part time, and that's what I started doing. So
Mhm.
while I was looking for a job, I did this, and then I found another job. One of my bosses from a previous company, a Chicago company, called me, and I went to work for a hedge fund acquiring real estate. And I ran their acquisitions division for Texas, acquisitions and rehab. Great income. And I almost got a little sidetracked again, but I remembered the lesson.
Mm.
I kept building, and that became Turning Point because I was and that's why our company, I mean, we do Black Swan Money. That's the educational side, but we're sponsored by our parent company, which is Turning Point Group. And that's why I called it the Turning Point, because I was at a turning point in my life. I drew a line in the sand. I said, never again will I let this happen. And
Mhm.
so not only am I an entrepreneur, much like you, but my mission from God, like the Blues Brothers, I'm like, my mission is to take this education out to Main Street America. And now, I work for myself. I've got great people like you and a bunch of others all across the country. We all work together to educate Main Street America on don't let this
Mhm.
happen to you. So
Yep.
that's my soapbox story, but I'll
Yeah.
kind of get off that. But the question is, and I'm going to ask you this, Wendy, okay, you had that downside. What fired you up and what did you
Mhm.
do about it? And we've got a few minutes left. I mean, I'd like to share mine too, but where was why was this time different for you? What happened?
Yeah. Um, I think this time was different because it was, um, I finally realized what the problem was, right? The
Mhm.
problem was is that, we just say this all the time. We teach people how money works. The problem was I didn't understand how money worked,
Yeah.
right? I didn't even know where to start.
Yeah.
And I read a book, Profit First, which is very similar. I told you about it, and you're like, yeah,
Mhm.
that's the money split system that we teach, right? But that was like the first spot for me to go, okay, I don't need to put all my money in one account,
Mhm.
because I was an entrepreneur and putting everything in one account.
Yep.
And and that was one of my biggest things. But I realized the problem. I realized the problem was I'm just not treating my money like a business, right? The money that comes in, I'm not treating it
Yes.
like a business.
Yes.
And so, I did a couple things. One is I got serious about building my business, right?
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I need to go and not just, we talk about this a lot, but the start stop, right? Money's
Yep.
coming in, you feel good, you get comfortable, and you
Yep.
slow down the activity that got you there. And
Yep.
so these ebbs and flows in the business, a lot of times, yes, we have the economy and things like that, but a lot of times it's because we ebb and flow in what we do in our business, right?
Yes.
As entrepreneurs.
Yes. Yep.
So that, and then, I had to stop my stupid spending.
Yeah.
I had a lot
Well,
of stupid spending.
that's the thing. I mean, I use an analogy to explain money on a lot of different occasions, but one I use on that is, money is like a seed that comes into your hand, right? And so many of us eat the seeds as opposed to going and planting the seeds. So if you have a corn seed, you can eat it and you're, fulfilled for a few minutes with a corn seed. But if you go and plant that in the ground, it's going to grow into a corn stalk with so many more seeds. And so you've got to find that balance of, eat some of the seeds, but you want your money growing for you so you have plenty of seeds down the road, and not just retirement. I'm talking wealth. I mean, when Wendy and I talk about building money, it's not for your retirement. I mean, it can be, depending on where you're at in your life cycle, but it's about building wealth throughout your life that you can access, not just for retirement down the road. So no, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, so I stopped the stupid spending, got a plan for my money, and then I stopped letting the abundance or the lack of money control my actions and my emotions.
Bingo, folks, write that down. Never get too excited about a great month of income and never get too down about a low side of income. And if you don't, there's a video we did. She talked about the money split system. For all you realtors that are watching this, you need to watch that video. Just go to blackswanmoney.com, type in TPG money split on our channel, and it'll pop up, and it will free you from those roller coaster rides of good months and bad months forever, and also help you out with your taxes. It'll be a challenge the first few months, but once you get it, you'll be amazed at the calmness that'll bring to your life on a financial standpoint. So, and that was kind of my deal too. I got to the point where I'm like, okay. And I've done the start stop and things like that as well. And this is the stuff, I mean, you learn from it. Well, that stunk. I don't want to do that again. So let's learn from it. And you've got to constantly hold up that mirror. And, even in the low points, you're never done. You never end until you quit, right? Once you quit, once you don't get back up again, the key is to learn so you don't keep repeating the same habits. And I keep seeing the same things over and over. And I did it for the longest time too. I got laid off, go get another job. Well, Jon, a job laid you off. Well, I'm going to get another one. This is going to be the one until I get laid off, right? And what I realized, it wasn't a new adventure. It was the same story, just a new chapter, right? And so I'm like, okay, I'm done with this book. And I realized from my standpoint, what I was really doing, I was getting great income, but all I was doing was selling my life 2 weeks at a time to build somebody else's dreams. And so I knew I wanted to make I wanted to make an impact in my life, not just an income, right? I wanted people to be impacted by my conversations. Now I'm not talking about, I'm George Washington or this person or that person. I mean, I want to make my own impact at whatever level God intends me to do that. But it's one of those things that if I even tell one person, I tell Wendy, here's what you can do with your money. Here's what you can do on your budget. And then she goes out and tells two people. And it's like that old VO5 commercial. I'm dating myself a little bit here from the 70s, right? And so on and so on. And then all of a sudden, middle class gets a break, right? We're all of a sudden we realize it's not about the stuff. It's about having that net worth. It's not about, I don't have enough money. It's like, no, let's figure out what we can do with the money that you have. It's not to a point where, okay, well, we can't afford it. No, how can we afford it? Right. And then focusing on understanding what to do with your money. So you're not eating all of your seed. You're actually eating a portion of it because you still want to have fun in life. That's what it's all about. But I'm planting that seed in the ground so I have money down the road. And then I'm repeating those lessons to my children while they're young so they don't go through the same financial struggles, because that's what happens. It's, it's that same cycle of get a good job. Oh, look at me. I'm flashy and spending all this money, and it's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. But, that's the big thing. So, kind of the lesson, I guess, from this is when you're down, you're not out, right? It's always darkest before the dawn, and whatever other cliches you want to throw there, but it's a reality. Okay. Throw in there. It's a reality. You're going to learn from your failures best. Okay. But the key is you've got to learn from your failures. Hold up the mirror. It's not anybody else's fault. Now you may get taken, to the cleaners or somebody scams you out of something. That happens. And, it's unfortunate, but most people's situation in lives is a result of the decisions they made, the people they hang out with. If you're the smartest person in the room, if you're the wealthiest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yes.
You need to get out of there. Go. That's what I did. I surrounded my people that were making way more money than I am. and I surrounded myself with people that were way smarter than I was when it came to money. Why? I wanted to learn what they did. I wanted to learn what they knew. I wanted to be able to do what they did to get where they were. And then I changed my group again and again, right? And that's kind of some of the takeaways. Don't be the smartest person or the wealthiest person in the room. Surround yourselves with people who want to be like that, and understand you've got to change. We're all playing a game here, the game of life, right? And I'm not talking about Milton Bradley life, even though I love that game. But if you don't, what's that?
It was one of my faves growing up.
Yeah. So you're playing a game here. Okay. And if you don't want to play by the rules, that's your choice. If you want to look a certain way, or you want to speak a certain way, and you don't want to, act a certain way around people, and you're going to be a goofball or whatever the case may be, that's your right. That's your choice. God bless you. Good luck. Don't be surprised, though, when it blows up in your face and you're not getting ahead. You have nobody to blame but yourself. So own it. Be proud of it. Own it, and be okay with the results. But if you want to learn how things are and learn how to play the game, and what I'm not talking about is how to scam people out of this, that, or the other, right? I see so many of these things, and I'm sure you've gotten calls from scammers. I know my mom gets them all the time. It's like they would spend just half the energy they do and try to scam people out of money, and going out and building a business, they would be multimillionaires. Here's the reality of it, folks. There is plenty of money out there. There is. There are plenty of ways to make money legitimately, right? And there are plenty of ways to build wealth legitimately. You just got to have an open mind, be willing to get busy and learn, and be willing to roll up your sleeves and get to work, because it ain't just going to happen, right? But it doesn't have to be hard work. And those are the things, I just wanted to, again, you and I talked about this, like, man, that's a great topic. We've all been at low times. A lot of people are getting laid off right now, and they think, oh my gosh, and they're going to go right out and repeat the same thing. They're going to go find another job, and they're going to do the exact same things they did before. And that's going to happen again. And they're going to wonder, well, what's going on? It's because you're making the same choices over again. So wake up, start surrounding yourself. And I'm going to tell you right now, read 2 books. They're super easy to read. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, Cash Flow Quadrant. There's a bunch of others I can recommend, but those are 2 out of the gate that changed my life, and it changed my money mindset. And not only money mindset, but just how I attack the world in a positive way, and really going out there. So don't have that scarcity mindset. Go out there, make yours happen. Thanks for popping that up. But that's all I got, folks. You're an awesome person. God wants to bless you. Whether you believe in him or not, he believes in you. You're his child. He wants to see you succeed. Just get out of your own way and stop overthinking things. Wendy, I don't know. You got anything to add to close?
No, just shout out that on Thursday, if you're looking for an opportunity to add another stream of income to your life, if you're the person that experiences the layoffs, and, not saying don't get another job, but alongside of your job, have a way to build a business. And we're sharing what we do on Thursday night. Just a shout out to one of us, or drop a comment below and we can send you the link to get registered. But we're going to talk about what we do with the Turning Point Group, and how we create income by helping families. So if you want to cover that,
we'll put the link in the actual chat on this as well. Okay. So it's out there. But that's what I did. So after that second layoff, and I told you I went to work for the hedge fund, I started this business part-time in my spare time. Mm-hmm. And I knew, and the reason I went into it was I wanted it to be my golden parachute, right? My parachute in case I got laid off again. That was the mindset I had. And then all of a sudden I started growing and learning and realized, hey, wait, this can be my full-time thing. And so that's what we're actually teaching. We're talking about, ways money can work for you, right? But also about the business and what we do. And maybe it's for you, maybe it's not. That's fine. But start researching something. Find something that lights your fire. Because if you're just going into a job for a paycheck, what a sad way to live a life. And you're just selling your life 2 weeks at a time. Nothing wrong with it. If you're happy with it, God bless you. But there's so much more out there, and we want to show you what it is. So click the link below. And again, share this video too. If you want to catch some of our old videos, blackswanmoney.com. This is video 120. 120 videos out there on teaching you ways to, make more money, grow more money, save more money, and protect it. So everybody have an awesome week. We'll see you next week on Money Moves. Don't forget, show some love. Click that little like button down there. That helps us with the algorithms. Love to have a comment from you as well. And if you've got a topic you want to talk about, let us know. We'll put it out there for you. Okay. So Wendy, as always, great to see you again. I can't wait till next week. And everybody have a great week.